push.
G'day guys, Tim here, the guy in the hat with my army generals, the Baron of Bitcoin on this side from Stormrake. What he doesn't know about Bitcoin, you can write on the back of the postage stamp. And on this side, we have the samurai of silver from Liberty Bullion and the expert in gold, silver, platinum, and everything else that's made of metal. Sammy, we're going to start with the big news of the day because people have been watching these markets. Gold, talk about silver. What is going on, Sammy? Over to you.
Well, look, it's absolute insanity out there in the precious metals markets at the moment, Timmy. We've seen gold cross the $3,800 per ounce level. I mean, I was checking out the Liberty Bullion website today. There are some gold coins in there where you're paying over 6,000 Aussie for an ounce of gold. That is absolutely nuts. That's absolutely nuts. Silver, even better. Silver's been absolutely flying. Up over 55% for the year in US dollars. Absolutely crazy performance. I mean, now you're paying almost $2,400 for a kilo of silver. I mean, that is just crazy. So, yeah, what a time to be alive. Platinum as well. Platinum's the big performer for the year, up 75% in US dollars for the year. Guys,
it's gone, man.
It is nuts, absolutely nuts out there. So look, you're just seeing the beginning of this. This is the very beginning of a long-term precious metals and other commodities bull market. So it's just the very beginning move. Guys, keep in mind that silver is still cheaper than it was in 2011 in US dollars, still cheaper than it was in 1980 in US dollars. Whereas gold has broken both of those all-time highs and did it quite a while ago. So silver's got a big cash-up move still left to go. It's very, very early days, even with the massive performance numbers we've been seeing so far. So for those who are coming in now, you're not too late. You're still getting in at a good price. And for all the Liberty Bullion clients that have been buying over the last few years, well, yeah, you're sitting pretty, and what a time to be alive.
What a time to be alive.
Question for both of you boys, though.
Yeah.
Right? Not trying to interview the interviewer,
Yes.
but are we witnessing the remonetization of silver?
Absolutely. That's what I would say. So we've seen this year central banks around the world start to stack silver. They've bought gold for a long, long time. Now they're starting to get it into silver. I see that as the remonetization, because why would a central bank buy
Explain
silver?
what remonetization is for those who don't know what it is.
So remonetization, good question, is about the monetary aspect of silver coming back. So silver for a long time was demonetized. It was taken out of the coinage. It wasn't treated as a monetary metal. It wasn't stacked by central banks. It wasn't a monetary metal. It was treated as an industrial metal. But what we're seeing at the moment, with the resurgence of central banks buying it and the resurgence of investor demand across the board, is the remonetization of silver. People are seeing silver as money again. They're seeing it as a store of value and a store of wealth over time, not just an industrial metal that you use to make stuff with. And that remonetization is driving massive investment demand into the space, which is pushing the price up like crazy. And we're only seeing the very beginnings of that remonetization. We've only seen 3 central banks around the world start to stack it out of what, 180. So it's very early days still.
And in that, that's a great answer. You made a statement before that price is not an indication of value.
Correct.
And that's what remonetization is. It's adjusting the value to match the current markets. That's exactly what you just said. And in the bimetallic era, they used to play gold, and silver used to be basically the value system. You would move the value around between gold and silver. And now we're seeing silver come back, as you rightly said.
Yeah.
But back to digital for a moment. One thing we've said on this channel all along, and I want to get your view on the correlation between Bitcoin and commodities. Is there one, or is it just coincidental that Bitcoin, the gold runs, and gold's still running? It actually doesn't know when to stop.
57 new all-time highs this year.
Nuts.
Gold is still running. Silver's running like crazy, but they're both kind of moving at the same time. And we've said that Bitcoin will run the hardest of all at the end of this. Now, we saw a quick move of Bitcoin overnight. It sort of jumped up a little bit. And you're adamant we're going to 200,000.
Absolutely.
US.
Yep.
I've seen people calling 1 million Bitcoin. I mean, how likely is that?
Absolutely. So, like, let's break things down, right? We're watching silver become remonetized. We're watching gold for the first time in over 50 years replace treasuries as the preferred store of value, preferred store of wealth for central banks.
Yes.
Now, that's a huge shift in sentiment at the highest level, where the biggest purchasing power comes down to. They have access to the printing press. They can print it out of thin air and buy assets. Bitcoin, I believe, will be a neutral asset, monetary asset. And what we're witnessing, all this volatility around Bitcoin, is the monetization of Bitcoin. It is only a $2 trillion asset class. Silver is only a $2 trillion asset class. Gold has moved up over 40% in 1 year, yet it is a $25 trillion asset class. Gold is 10 times larger than silver and Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen. 10 times larger. So to put that into perspective for you, if silver and Bitcoin were to have a comparative market cap to that of gold today, and that's not to say that gold will stop running and they'll be all equal value, but let's compare it. Silver would be worth 600 US dollars. 600 US dollars. Bitcoin would be $1.2 million per BTC. You guys do not understand the opportunity you have to buy silver and buy Bitcoin during a monetization process. We're watching in real time the remonetization of silver. It is a beautiful thing to watch. And Bitcoin being a neutral, apolitical asset that can be traded, whether you're Russian, Chinese, American, you can trade
Indian?
Bitcoin. Indian, absolutely. It's open season, guys. This is what we're witnessing, is global sovereign assets becoming repriced to genuinely much higher heights. Put aside the fact that we're going to see raging inflation, which will push Bitcoin to 200K by itself, raging inflation, which will push gold to 10,000 US, to silver over triple digits. These are factors that we've known for a long time. But this at the highest level is the monetization of alternative assets. People do not trust the US dollar anymore. People do not trust US treasuries. And I'm not talking about, us conspiracy theorists no longer trusting the US dollar and US treasuries. That doesn't really matter. The purchasing power of the combined three of us, whilst high relative to other individuals, doesn't mean that you see that central banks are going out and stacking this stuff. That's your signal, guys. The US forming the strategic Bitcoin reserve, that's your signal. So for me, it's really simple. Follow what the biggest players are doing, follow what the biggest institutions are doing, and park your wealth in what they're buying. That's it.
I've got a question for you, boys. What would you rather follow, a poor conspiracy theorist or a wealthy conspiracy theorist?
Hard choice, Timmy. Hard choice, mate, on that one.
You got to pick your battles. All right. So I want to ask a question about monetization, the remonetization of silver, because I agree totally. I think this is going through a reprice. That's what I've been calling it. Where does it stop?
Well, look, I mean, where does it stop? I think that's the question about where does this all end up? What does the value structure look like? People ask me all the time, Sam, where's your targets for gold? Where's your targets for silver? And I keep telling them that when we're going into a hyperinflation currency collapse scenario, dollar targets become quite useless. I mean, if I said to you that, silver will be in triple digits or 4 digits or 5 digits, would you sell there? And the answer in a hyperinflation is no, you keep holding. So what does it look like when you reach peak hyperinflation? Well, in 1923 Germany, peak hyperinflation meant that you could buy a 6-bedroom home in inner city Berlin for 5 ounces of gold. So that is what it looks like. And what would that look like in today's money? Well, people ask me for silver, what's your target for silver? In today's money, today's value structure and system, 1,200 Aussie dollars an ounce for silver, to me sounds about right. So just over $1,000 an ounce Aussie for silver at the current level of buying power that $1,200 Aussie gives you. When silver reaches that, I think that's a good target. That's when you start
1,000 an ounce for silver
in today's buying power. So, and don't take me wrong on that one. When silver reaches $1,000 an ounce, it will not be time to sell because the dollar will have lost a lot of buying power, a lot of value during that time period. So that target becomes higher because it's in today's buying power that target is.
Yes.
So
it's relevant.
Don't sell your silver at $1,000 an ounce, but don't sell your silver until at least $1,000 an ounce, and potentially billions.
So where would that put gold if silver's sitting at?
Well, that's when the ratio becomes super useful. So we keep talking about the gold to silver ratio and why that ratio tells you to buy silver right now when that ratio is really high. My 2 cents is that ratio is going to 20 to 1. potentially even lower, but I'll call 20 to 1 and be conservative. So for every ounce of silver that you've got, you'll get 1/20th of an ounce of gold, or the other way around, which is easy to think about. 1 ounce of gold will buy you 20 ounces of silver, no matter what the dollar price is.
100%. And it's interesting you said 20 to 1. For most of the 19th century, it sat at 15 to 1.
Yes, absolutely. And in 1980, it hit 16 to 1. So that's why I say 20 to 1 is quite conservative. I think it very well could go lower, but I believe in being conservative with my estimates and all of that. So, but you're absolutely right, Timmy. 15 to 1. It could even go to 10 to 1 in an extreme scenario, but I wouldn't hold out for that.
What I love about ratio trading as well is that it allows you to have better understanding of value whilst getting rid of a worthless denominator.
Yeah.
So the US dollar is worthless, the Aussie dollar is worthless, the AUD has been printed into extinction far greater than the US dollar. What I mean by that is that on a nominal basis, the US dollar has obviously there's more US dollars in circulation, but the AUD has been printed far harder in terms of percentage. So the RBA has printed more Aussie dollars on a percentage basis than the US has, or the Federal Reserve has on a percentage basis. So what that means is that if you're trying to measure value in things like the AUD or the US dollar, you're going to have a really hard time of it, because if a bag of potatoes or tomatoes or onions is costing you $100, $200, the understanding value is going to be quite skewed.
Yeah.
Whereas if you measure things against Bitcoin against gold, Bitcoin against silver, silver against gold, silver against BTC, you've got a much better understanding of relative value without having to do things. Like for me, I price everything in Bitcoin. We're about to go on a book tour. I'm pricing my flights in BTC. I'm going to be spending some coin on a family holiday. I'm pricing it in Bitcoin because that's my main unit of account. And I love the fact that this remonetization of gold and silver, particularly silver, and the monetization of Bitcoin in the first place is going to have people shift their thinking about how they view these assets. Instead of it just being either a store of value or a vehicle for speculation, it's going to be something that people use in their everyday life to be able to transact and store their value over time as well.
And I think this is the big shift on this reset. It's moving from price-based to value systems. So as you know, for a long time, we've been very price-oriented. Everyone wants to know what real estate costs, what this costs. Even in our own asset classes, people come to us and say, well, how much is it going to cost me for a piece of silver? It's no, it's not a cost. This is the opposite. This is an investment.
Well, there's a saying I really love, which is, in the markets, you really don't want to be the kind of person that knows the price of everything and the value of nothing.
Yes.
Right.
That's powerful.
Prices are easy to find.
Yes,
You can hop on and
true.
find the spot price. You can find the price of Bitcoin. You can watch it on the charts. Price is easy. It's super easy. That's the easiest part of the equation. Knowing value and comparing value to price, that's where the magic of investing and trading starts.
That's right. Because as investors, not traders, right? We've been very clear that we're building an investing community here.
Totally different.
As investors, you need to understand what is undervalued and overvalued. So let me ask you boys a question. Australian real estate, overvalued or undervalued?
Overvalued.
Fantastic. So if you've got overvalued assets, what do you do with it?
Sell it.
Sell it. And when you've got undervalued assets, gold or silver, undervalued?
Undervalued.
Keep it.
Bitcoin?
Keep it.
Undervalued.
Undervalued.
So you sell
I'm
your
getting the wrong
overvalued.
answer to the right
No. You're selling your overvalued assets and you're buying the undervalued ones, right?
Yep.
So it's really a simple equation, guys. It's not complicated. And then just be patient, because people like watching the price charts minute to minute. It took silver over a decade to form this base to have this parabolic move. It's now what with Bitcoin trading at over $110,000, and people are fucking sorry, excuse my language. People are bearish at
The silver coin there, mate.
Absolutely.
Unless you put the word commercial bank after it, or data bank,
Understood.
you get away
What
with
about bearish?
it. All right, okay.
Yeah,
That's fair.
all right. People are bearish with Bitcoin trading over. People are bearish with Bitcoin trading over $110,000 just because it came off 124 and a half. Right. So I'm just telling you guys, like, what it really boils down. That's all right.
Sorry.
I love it.
Continue. Sorry.
Yeah. So what it really boils down to is that you don't want to try to be price sensitive to everything. You want to be understanding value. For me, when Bitcoin went off from 124 and a half and came down to 108, 110, I'm like, this is value. This is a discount. I'm buying, right? I put my money where my mouth is. I bought Bitcoin call options. I went leverage long. I bought spot BTC. I put my money where my mouth is. I bought silver with Sammy. The great thing about what we do here is we would never put ourselves into a position that our clients wouldn't be in.
No, I like that. I'm just coughing. Sorry, guys. You're right. So there are four things. You mentioned undervalued assets. There are actually four things I look at straight away, which I agree with you boys on, that separates trading from wealth assets. Undervalued, yes. Decentralized,
Yes.
zero counterparty risk,
Yes.
and monetary. In other words, the ability to be able to convert very quickly to other mediums of exchange.
liquid.
Right, super liquid.
Yeah.
Hyper. So
You
these
should
are
buy Hyperliquid, by the way.
so these are the four things. It's undervalued is only one of them. There are many more elements, but what do you think about that? I mean, this ability to have these four, and that's why when people come to us and they say, well, XRP, should I buy XRP? Well, yes, but I mean, you're a trading guy, so you understand.
And look, I'm right with you, Timmy, that long-term mindset versus short-term, where you've got to, for us, for Timmy, for Bish, for we, in our heads, we have like this split personality syndrome where half of us is an investor and half of us is a trader. And we don't necessarily want that for all of our clients. What's easier is to just be full investor. So for those who want to trade, absolutely, we can talk about trading, but investing is what suits most people. Investing is what everybody needs to be doing, even if you are a trader as well. And investing is, like you say, the four pillars of the asset. It needs to be decentralized. It needs to be monetary. It needs to have zero counterparty risk. And of course, it needs to be undervalued to be buying it in the first
100%.
place. And the zero counterparty risk, I think that's something that we keep stressing the importance of, and it needs to be stressed in a world in which you can't trust everybody and banks and your media and your government. And, there's a lot of zero trust there that needs to be aware. You need to be aware that the system's rigged against you, and you need to be aware of how to get out of it. But it's more than that. It's getting undervalued assets, and that's the big part of being an investor and a trader is picking up undervalued assets, holding them, and selling your overvalued assets because they've had their run. There's opportunity to be had elsewhere, and the opportunity cost of not being in these assets that we've got. Gold, silver, platinum, Bitcoin, the opportunity cost is massive. I don't think most people understand it. When you look at silver up 55% for the year and you go, what's the opportunity cost of not buying silver? It's a 55% return.
Let's make it real though. Like if you invested $100,000 at the start of the year, you've now got $155,000 in today's Aussie dollar value. You invested $1 million, you'd have $550,000.
But
you had $10,000, you got $5,500.
But it's
gold is even better. BTC 20%. I mean, hasn't had the run that gold and silver had, which is
It's still outperformed profit.
Still outperformed profit. It's still outperformed your commercial bank. It's still outperformed inflation. Guys, what are you doing?
And that's it. Go on a property for just 1 second, harking on about overvalued versus undervalued. If you have $1 million property and at the beginning of the year you sold it and you bought silver, you'd be up 550 grand. That is the cost of living in the property instead. If you've lived in your $1 million property this year, it hasn't cost you your property taxes, and that's not the cost of living in the property. The cost of living in the property is your opportunity cost, which is $500,000 to live in your property. Do you really think that you got good value out of living in your property this year and paying $500,000 to do so?
Yeah.
That is why we say get out of overvalued, get into undervalued.
And for those who really love property, if you froth property, you've just been indoctrinated by the Australian media and the Australian banking system, and you love property. You should be selling your property, not financial advice, and then going out and buying gold, silver, and Bitcoin, because then you can buy more property with the proceeds of your gains. I mean, if you've been doing the gold, silver, and Bitcoin strategy for the last year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, imagine how much property you can have, guys. Like, it's just insane to think about. Like, people are like, they're holding on, like, with their hands bleeding onto this garbage asset that's overvalued and going, oh, I love my property, I love my property, I love my property. I'm like, if you really love it, sell it, and then you can buy more. You just have to be patient.
Yeah.
Right now, one home, the average Australian home, takes you 5 BTC to purchase, 5 Bitcoin. Within a few short years, it'll be 1 Bitcoin. So if you go out there, sell your average Australian home, you buy 5 Bitcoin. You then sell it 5 years from now, 8 years from now, you can buy 5 homes.
And you know what I'm getting a lot of now? I had an incredible message today regarding silver. Somebody said, I can't buy silver. It's unaffordable.
Come on.
What?
Come on, it's $71 spot an ounce, mate. If you don't have $71 to your name.
Well, they were looking at the kilo bar
Okay.
and they said, how am I meant to get into this? Well, what I'm saying is, remember when silver when I started my channel, it was like almost a third of the price. and we were trying to beg, we were out there begging people to buy it.
And
Now
that
they-
is fair. Look, I remember when 2020 hit and I took my little brother into the bullion dealer and he got his first kilo of silver. He paid just over 800 bucks Aussie for it. Today they're going for almost 2,400. So
Wow.
I can understand people who said, "Oh, it's a bit expensive." But guys, when you're looking at silver and it's 24,000 a kilo, you're gonna wish you bought it at 2,400. Just like everybody today is wishing they bought it at 800. You know, back when it was 800, people were probably saying, "Oh, 800 bucks. You know, that's a fair bit. I could take that down to Woolies." You know, that it's just how it is, mate. It's just how it is.
Yeah, and also, since I've been on the channel, silver's moved 3x.
Yep.
Let's say in another 3 years, it moves another 3x.
Yep.
It could easily do it.
Easily.
So
I'd
where
say
does that-
it's likely to do even better than that.
So a 3x move from here at the current per ounce price of say close to $50 US
Yeah.
would put it at close to
150.
Well, if
150.
it's 71 today, you triple that. That's
over $200 an ounce US.
Aussie. Aussie. 71 Aussie.
Oh, sorry, 71 is
71 Aussie. So yeah, 140,
40.
213.
So people, so what do you say to people that say, I can't afford it now. I might just wait until I get a few more dollars.
No,
I mean,
no.
where-
It's going to be harder to afford later because it's going to be even more expensive. So if you're putting off purchases, you better be putting it off for a bloody good reason. You better be coming into a lot of money to be putting off a purchase.
This is why we told
Bitcoin just hit 115.
So
Yeah.
Bitcoin now, I've got a video coming out today, which I made a couple of days ago. So don't skewer me because the graph I've got in the videos Bitcoin from a few days ago.
That's okay.
But I was saying in that video, gold runs first
Yep.
and it hasn't stopped. Silver runs furthest
Percentage wise, it outperforms, which we've seen this so far this year. Absolutely.
and Bitcoin runs hardest. Now, that's my message today on this video that I'll be posting at some stage. And we're watching that. So what I said in the video is you mark my words, these assets will keep running. They can't. Guys, let's just explain one more time. Why are they running? What's causing it?
Money prints go bird. They're
Right.
dropping interest rates. Inflation's roaring. It's getting red hot out there.
Right.
Cost of living crisis across the world. People are de-dollarizing.
They are.
Central banks, they're stacking gold and silver. They're moving it out of US treasuries, US dollar denominated assets and into real commodities. We're watching this huge asset class rotation. People wanting to get away from the money prints to get into real stuff that protects them from it. And that's why the price is rallying like crazy. And it's just the beginning of the move. We've only just started to see liftoff.
Correct. I mean, I got to really stress this, guys. For the last few years, the Federal Reserve and central banks around the world were in a rate hiking cycle. They were tightening financial conditions. They were tightening monetary conditions because they were trying to fight inflation on paper. Right, that was the headline. Right now, they have said that they are removing the reference rate towards keeping inflation under 2%. That meaning they don't give a shit about where inflation sits anymore. They're just going to let it run red hot. And they're cutting interest rate and they're printing currency. Guys, this could not be a more fundamentally bullish setup for gold, silver, and Bitcoin. I want to go out there and buy more silver and Bitcoin. I'm trying to think about ways that I can build a better business, a bigger business, so that I've got more revenue and more profit so I can go out and buy more silver and Bitcoin. That's what every single one of you should be doing. Waking up every single day with a burning red hot desire to do your craft really well, whether you're a plumber, whether you're a sparky, whether you're a carpenter, an accountant,
A
a baker, whatever you're doing, whatever you're
bullion dealer.
a bullion dealer, whatever your profession is, become really good at it. Make as much money as you possibly can, currency as you possibly can, and then dispose of it and buy gold, silver, and Bitcoin.
Yeah,
That's it.
do you know all the expletives? That currency and money one was the worst one.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That is going
dare you.
to cost you.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, no, you can say it. You can even use the C word.
All right, but that's what I'm saying, guys. Like, can you not like? This is why I love what you guys. Your message is so pure. Go out there, work really hard, guys. Work as hard as you possibly can. Make as much income as you possibly can, and plow that income into gold, silver, and Bitcoin. That's it.
Yeah, do a lot of plowing. All right.
Plowing and laying pipes. That's
Where were you going with that the other night?
What do you mean? I was talking about.
It took me half an hour in the chat afterwards to go, look, what he meant was, anyway, Sammy, give us some thoughts for the next week, the next month for commodities. What's going to happen here?
Look, so we've seen silver making this massive breakout move, 50-year cup and handle. It is absolute insanity. The short, medium, long-term prediction is up, up and away. Now, having said that, guys, I want to prepare people for the volatility here. Silver is in massive breakout mode. It's about to make a huge, huge move. And I want people to know that there is going to be big volatility along the way. There's going to be drops. There's going to be pullbacks. I don't want anybody to get even a little bit scared by them. You should see them as buying opportunities. Every dip you get from here is a gift from the trading gods. So take it with both hands and run. Do not feel an ounce of fear during the pullbacks, because what we are seeing is a generational wealth creation opportunity in these assets. So the prediction here, up, up and away, 4K US for gold. We're only $200 an ounce US from there now. 50 USD silver. We're only $3 an ounce US from that now. We might see a pullback there. I think it's pretty likely.
We're going to party, mate.
And
And,
then
just on that, can I just before I cross across to you for final words,
No, please.
people can go back and look at all your predictions.
yeah, they can.
Have you been right or wrong?
Oh, look, I've been pretty right. I don't get every single one right, but 9 out of 10, and I trade them myself. So
I said $50 an ounce
Yep.
for gold.
Yep.
And we are sorry, $50.
$50 an ounce.
Well, you know, we're giving it away.
Game over.
That's got to
It's cheaper over. Anyway, so we said 50 an ounce of silver. You would never ever let that go.
I never wavered on that, and here we are at 47, and we're just knocking on the door.
Knocking on the door. Bish, give us your next week/month. You can go out to 3 months if you want, but the next week/month.
Absolutely. Guys, I've told you, do not fear this recent pullback in Bitcoin. I'm going to have to borrow from Sammy's wise words. Do not fear these pullbacks. See them as an opportunity to accumulate Bitcoin on what is going to be a generational wealth creation opportunity across commodities and crypto assets. That's all you really need to have, guys. I anticipate Bitcoin to be creating new all-time highs in October. I have no fear in that.
Yeah,
No fear in that. October is going to be escape velocity for BTC. I'm calling 150K by the end of the year. That gives us 3 months. After that point, let's assess and reassess what happens in the market. But honestly, BTC is just in that boiling phase. We have spent over 137 days of the trading year over 110,000 US dollars. If you told Bisher of 2016, when I was 21, when I was first buying Bitcoin, that Bitcoin was going to spend half a year over 110,000 US dollars when it was trading at $1,000, I would not have believed you. Now we've spent over half the year trading over 110,000, putting in an incredible base for takeoff, for escape velocity.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, realistically, by the end of October, silver north of 50 US. So we're off to Phuket.
Absolutely.
Gold where?
If silver's
4K?
at 50, gold's at 4K or over 4K.
Okay, so gold, realistically.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be conservative. Gold will be over 4K by the end of October.
Yep.
Realistically, Bitcoin will be north of its ATH.
Yeah, over 125.
Over 125. And I think that's pretty conservative. So we're going to say, we should come back and check then. 50, over 50 US for silver. So we're off to Phuket. 4K for gold and north of
125.
125.
Yeah.
And where to from there? I mean, we can just get creative.
For triple digit silver is the next target. Then when we hit triple digit, it becomes 300, 500, 700, 4-digit silver, $1,000 an ounce. You know, the targets just keep moving. As time goes on.
Where are we going when triple digit silver happens?
Let's deliver a Phuket first and then go from there. You've got a 100K party coming up for your Instagram.
Problem is, I'm going to hit 100K next week, and it's like, well, it's coming in too fast. It's like,
I feel the same about Phuket, mate. I haven't done any planning yet. So that's
well,
probably-
we probably do Phuket April next year by
Yeah,
the time
yeah.
we get everything out of the way,
yeah.
and then we'll be off to Sardinia when October.
Yeah, but probably October. I would love to do it in like June, July, which is like peak.
Oh,
European
yeah.
summer.
Oh, we got a bit of work to do on Bitcoin. Then we need to bench
Oh,
press
mate,
the
I'm
price.
telling you, Bitcoin will put in one candle that reminds everyone why it is one of the most apex predator
And what
assets.
colour is that candle going to be?
It's going to be a big green candle.
Fantastic. We should just do like little outtakes. Do, like comparisons and stuff. My boys, that's it. Any final words, guys?
Oh, what a time to be alive, guys. It is just absolutely epic out there. Yeah, they keep printing them, we keep making them, guys. What a time to be alive.
Look, I'm gonna deviate from financial markets here for a second. I just want to say I appreciate everything that these boys have done. They have created so much wealth for you guys. Honestly, these gentlemen have created generational wealth for you and your family. You guys have been talking about silver when it was below $30 Aussie. I mean, that is astonishing. You got platinum served up to you on a silver platter when it was less than $1,000 at the start of this year. Right? I was talking to you about Bitcoin when BTC was at less than 60,000 US dollars this time last year. I was telling you buy Bitcoin when it was at 60K. Now we're at 115, guys. Just take a chill pill, get out there, enjoy your lives. Enjoy your lives is what I want to say. What a time to be alive. You're not bullish enough. Enjoy your life, raise your kids, spend time with your loved ones, and just enjoy yourself. Let us sort out the markets for you. Just have a listen to what we've got to say, and then the rest will be easy.
You said platinum served up on a silver platter.
Yeah.
What do you serve silver up on it?
A platinum platter.
I just thought I'd put it out there.
Yeah.
There's no right or wrong answer.
I mean, that's actually a good. I didn't even realize. I mean, that's a good added
Platinum on a silver platter. Yeah,
crazy.
it's pretty good. Do you know what would be an interesting product? A platinum core, like a ball with platinum core, silver in the outside, and like a planet, like a cross section of a planet, gold on the crust, silver in the middle, and platinum in the
That
center.
would be pretty cool.
With like a Bitcoin seed phrase in the middle.
I'd be cracking it. Eh? All right, boys, that's it for me. The guy in the hat, together with the Baron of Bitcoin from Stormrake, and of course the Samurai of Silver from Liberty Bullion. The next time we see you guys, we'll probably be back in a couple of weeks. Although we may be at the golf conference by then, is that right? But if we are, we may
make one there.
do one from the golf
Yeah.
conference. We should do one from up on the stage. Maybe we should do it live on the stage. Leave the camera on.
Maybe.
See,
We'll see.
We'll have to get some permission for that one. All right, guys, that's it for us. As always, look after your families and
Make
Good.
choices. See you guys.
Thanks, everyone.